Hey everyone, somebody asked if what we're doing is like a private blog network setup, and I want to point out the differences real quick because they're huge. But it's really important to know what the differences are, obviously. So let's go ahead and go through it. And before I do, let's talk scale. Like when people are thinking, wow, I'm getting big and Google's going to notice me, how big do you have to get before you can even think that Google cares? Well, check this out. As a general benchmark, the average number of website visits per month for small to medium-sized businesses is approximately 10,000 visitors a month, while the average number of website visits per month for large businesses is around 100,000. Something like 30% of businesses that belong to somebody working out of their garage get at least 10,000 visits a month. Something like that, like a third of them, okay? So just to think in terms of scale, until you're crossing the bottom of the spectrum, don't even expect Google to pay too much attention to that. Now, that's on a visitor count. The other account would be the actual keyword saturation. Like if you are 10 results for the keyword and it's a really high, very delicious keyword, you know, like roofing in a city, right? And you're trying to get all 10. Until that day comes, don't worry about it, right? You're going after what you can get, where you can't be 10, be 9, where you can't be 9, be 8, where you can't be 8, be 7, and so on. But saturate that way. Having said that, let's continue. I walked to, or came up to ChatGPT, said, hello, how are you doing today? I asked ChatGPT, what's wrong with private blog networks so I can get this up from the horse's mouth, right? So let's take a look. Manipulative link building, right? And that's because PBNs are created solely to provide backlinks to other websites, artificially boosting their search engine rankings. Right. We don't do that, do we? We make web pages that are on point, on topic. We use queries that say, explain it well. Create an introduction to the topic. Open the topic and set up a comprehensive breakdown of the topic. Add case studies. Add FAQs. Compare A with B, B with C, A with C, and so on, right? Write some facts about it. We create pages of quality content, okay? Very, very different. What do people with PBNs do? The spin tags thing, they go, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. And I'm going to highlight quick brown fox and point at this website, lazy dog and point at that one. Then I'm going to have the next page. It's going to say the speedy light brown fox leaped over the exhausted dog. Speedy light brown fox is going to point at the first website. Exhausted dog is going to point at the second website. Now I'm going to create the next. But the way they do it is automatically generate these totally useless pages, right? And even then, about half of them survive because they're not considered crappy as much as just never going to be searched, right? There's that. Having said that, Google values natural, high-quality links, and PBNs are seen as an attempt to manipulate this process. I'll get into that in a minute. First, I want to point out, we create quality content. Every page we write is meant to be written well. That's one piece, okay? So let's keep going. Low quality content? No, exactly. I know, I talked about that, right? I'll get to the links in a little bit. Deceptive practices. We're trying to deceive the search engines by appearing as independent, legitimate websites. Have you guys seen any of these things done manipulatively? Have you seen stacks of pages created that just simply citate from other pages and rebuild it and reshuffle the paragraphs and pretend to put it out as unique content? That's manipulative, and that's low quality content. It's fake, right? Manipulative link building also means you have a bunch of links in a page that point to one website over there, and you do that a lot of times. For those of us using link checking tools, it's when you see that from this website, you got 3 links. You know, probably 3 different pages, each had a link to you. From this website, you got maybe 2 or 3 or 4 links. And it could be that all those links are on a certain page. One's an image, one's text, and one's your domain name. You know, it could even be in a group. And then, and so on and so forth, right? But then you're going to see a domain that has like 3,489 links to you. And when you go look, 3,488 of those web pages are a copy of the first one, basically, right? So effectively plagiarized content. Yeah, all that stuff's low quality content, manipulative link building. We don't do that. First, we create top quality content. And then when we line up our websites, we don't do reciprocal linking. We do these only link to those, which only link to those, which only link to those. Appropriate. That is the way it works out there in nature on the internet. Virtual nature. Okay. The next point I want to make about that too is that we don't force the links. In other words, we just say, hey, sites, you look at those websites, see if you recognize anything there. The browser titles or the page menu names, the most important part of the page. If you recognize something there, look in yourself page and see if you can find wording that matches that, right? That's what we mean by recognize. See if you can find where any of your words match any of those titles. If so, create a link here that goes to that. Okay, that's all. 1 per page at the most, and up to 6 different sites per web page at the most. And so what happens is one website with 100 pages on it might wind up with 3 links to that website over there, 4 links to another one of those websites, right? And so on. It's completely natural, and it is based on the wording. So it's appropriate. Google cannot and will not have a problem with that. That also erases deceptiveness. If the pages themselves are really good, the websites are actually different, which ours are. They sit on totally different cPanels. There's sub cPanel accounts on servers, AWS servers, Amazon web servers in the cloud with different cPanels. Each cPanel only has one domain. It's not like a bunch of add-on domains on a single cPanel. No, they're standalone websites. Okay? And they each have their own operation. They have their own images, their own themes, their own colors, their own layouts, right? Their own contents. Google doesn't have a problem with that. And the themes could even be quite similar because people tend to buy the same themes all the time and just use them. But we change the images, we change the color schemes. The content, of course, is different every time. Number of pages is different. Word count per page is different. Everything is different. So there's not a question there about anything weird or deceptive. No, the pages are quality and they have appropriate kind of linking, and there is no footprint. It's not like the third paragraph of every page has a link going to that website. No footprint. It's totally, you would say random, but it's only based on appropriate matches being found from this stack of websites to that. And it's not one website to the next, the next, the next either. It's like 5 websites. Look at these other 5 websites, and each of you, see if you can find matches in your pages to any of these for whatever pages are on them. And then just create that appropriate, link. It's got to be at least 2 or 3 words together, not one word. And maximum 1 link per page per one of these websites. And you could do up to 6 websites. So if we had 6 up here, you could have as many as 6 on a single page, although you almost never will. Okay? Totally natural. Totally natural. Okay? It comes out of the writing itself. The wording combinations have to already exist in the original proper writing, and then the system can find a match between that and the verbiage in the title of the destination page. That is called a match made in heaven. Google has no problem with that. It's no footprint. Okay, unnatural link patterns, like I said, nothing unnatural about that linking pattern. It is exactly natural. Those links can only exist if they're right, and they cannot exist if they're not right. Okay? Now, yeah, penalties. Penalties are when you do things really wrong. You guys can probably name this stuff, right? Have you ever seen people put links into pages and set the font size to 0 so that they don't take up any space on the page and no one sees them? Have you ever read a paragraph and seen just some really strange words right in the middle, maybe with no spaces between the words next to them, and it's hyperlinked and it goes somewhere? Have you ever seen a page with a whole lot of just one-line titles and each one is hyperlinked to a different website? These are the things Google doesn't like, and these are the things that run rampant. Basically, if the average user is doing searches on Google and the top results are stuff like that, they're garbage, they don't add value to any reader, that's what Google doesn't want to happen. Remember, it's not just about the beneficiary of the linking, it is the source. Not only does the beneficiary get rewarded for the linking, the source gets rewarded for the linking. So then the sources would show up on the front pages of a bunch of searches as crap. Okay? So that can't happen, right? Google limits that. What our job is to create totally unique websites that are totally different, that all add value, and just spread the smorgasbord out and let Google pick and choose what it will from there. And it grades each page one at a time. But at the same time, there's nothing PBN-y about what we're doing. Even when we write topics about the same keywords and we're aiming for the same keywords, we're trying to get the same keywords, we're not forcing anything. We're just doing our best to be competitive and let Google decide to what degree we earned it, keyword by keyword by keyword by keyword. Does that make sense? Very different than a PBN. PBNs are crap sites. When you look at the pages, you would never want to read them. You would never find value in them. And you're just going to see a bunch of links, like 1,000 on a page, that go nowhere in particular. They just go to different sites. And you realize the whole purpose of the page was created to cheat. But the page itself has no value to add to a human reader, which is the most important thing. Okay, hope that kind of answers that.